Hi, I'm Adam Parker with Adam Parker Photography, and again I'd like to review a piece of photography hardware that I think every photographer who's done any sort of lighting shooting will find very useful. So if you have ever tried to do studio lighting with monolights, or if you're trying to remotely fire flashes, you've had to use sync cables. And one of the challenges with that is trying to get those cables out of the way and fire remotely. So I'd like to review the RadioPopper JrX Transmitter and Receiver. This is a very inexpensive solution for removing the cables out of your lighting setup and being able to trigger those strobes from your camera without anything in between. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at these two units. If we look at the transmitter first, we'll see it's a very small item, fits right in your hand, very light. We've got a hot shoe sync cable right here, and then we've got our antenna right here. Very pronounced are the three knobs on the side. We'll get to that in a minute. And also very visible are the little jogger switches that are over here, and I'll get to that in a second too. And then we got a PC sync port on the side. If we look at the receiver, we've got our PC sync port, our on-off switch, and our antenna. And then we've got also our little jogger rockers right here for our settings. And then a cable over here for compatible lighting that can handle some sync information. We won't really go into that. This is the basic unit. I should mention there is also a studio unit. The hardware is exactly the same on the two. The difference is the software that's installed on it. And the basic unit, which I have here, doesn't have the software to enable the sync port. But I don't have any strobes that use that anyways, so it's not a big loss. If we look at the jogger switches here, I want to go over this real quick. Looking at the receiver and the transmitter side by side, the first four switches indicate the channel that we're on. So the transmitter and the receiver have to be on the same channel in order for the transmitter to trigger the receiver. Everything above 4, so 5, 6, and 7 on the receiver, and 5 and 6 on the transmitter, are all for optional properties, and I won't go into that. And these knobs up here on the transmitter, those are for setting the output on the strobes, but that's only for compatible strobes. And since I don't have those, I'm not going to go into the details on that either. So, now that we've reviewed that, what we can do is I'd like to show you how easy it is to set this up to fire a strobe remotely. I've got a Savage FT150 strobe right here, and RadioPopper actually is nice enough to present you with the following cables. We have a sync cable, we have a down step adapter, and then we have an up step adapter for any of the units that have a larger plug. So let's go ahead and set this up. I'm going to set up the receiver first. My strobe actually does use a larger adapter, so I'm going to go ahead and plug in my sync cable, plug it into my adapter right there in my port on the monolight, plug it into the sync cable on the receiver. I'll go ahead and turn that on. We're on channel 1, as we can see here. I'll turn on the power, and now the receiver is all set up. Let's go ahead and set up the camera. All we have to do is really just slide the unit on to our hot shoe. There's no screw downs or locks or anything like that to clamp it on. It just stays on there on its own. And we'll go ahead and we'll turn that unit on. And we should be good to go. Again, this is on channel 1, just like the receiver is. So let's go ahead and do a test by pushing our little sync button back here. And there we go. We had our fire. So let's go ahead, and our camera's on, and we'll go ahead and take a sample shot. So it's that simple. Now I can go ahead and I can shoot over here, I can shoot over here, up, doesn't matter, no cables to get in the way. I can go wherever I need to and don't have to move my subject or worry about tripping over the cables and knocking over the lights. So now that we've got this set up in here, and we've seen how effective it is in a very small environment where I'm very close, let me go ahead and set this up, and then we'll see how far away I can get and still trigger this. The rating is supposed to be 300 feet or more depending on the conditions outside. So let's go ahead and see how it works. Alright, so now we're outside, and we're going to go ahead and do a distance test. I've got a monolight set up out here, and I'm just going to keep walking, and we'll fire it as we go. And I'll have the camera recording, and we can see if the strobe is actually firing at the distances that we're getting to. So here's the setup. We've got our monolight, and we've got our transmitter and receiver ready to go. Let's go ahead and make this happen.
Alright, so let's get a whole test fire going on here. There we go, so we can see it's working. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start off with this is probably about 20 feet. Fired just fine. We'll go ahead and keep it going. This is probably getting to around 25 feet or 30 feet. Fired fine. Alright, so let's cut over. It's a pretty straight line, but there are some trees between us. But let's go ahead and bump this up to around 40 feet, and now we'll try it. Oh, no, fire. There we go. We got the strobe. So we have one misfire there. Let's go ahead and pick it up to about 60 feet. We'll fire that. There it went. Alright, let's see what we can do from, let's step it up, and we'll do it at about 200 feet. So I'm going to go ahead and walk real quick. So we're probably sitting somewhere around 200 feet. And so there's the garage, and the strobe, and they're fired. Let's back it up a little bit more. And we'll fire from about 225. They're fired. That was the test from a little ways away. You can see how it worked. Let's go back inside and wrap this up.
Okay, so we just shot outside and we saw how effective the JrX RadioPopper Transmitter and Receiver combo is. This is a really inexpensive solution for removing the cables out of your system and really just making the whole process a lot more pleasant for both you and your subjects. So I highly recommend these. If you're looking at any sort of a wireless solution, definitely give RadioPopper a review, a look over, see what you think. If you're looking to just get into the system and get something very low cost, this is a great way to start. And then what you can do is you can actually upgrade your transmitter and still use your receivers down the road so that you can actually get a higher sync speed and all the benefits of the more expensive units when you're ready to go that route. So again, this is Adam Parker. Please feel free to check out my blog down here at blogs.adamparkerphotography.com. I hope that this information helped you and that you'll be able to take that out and get some great shots with it.